From KAMR Local 4 News, your local election headquarters, this is Politics Today.
The New World screwworm is making its way closer to the Texas border. How state officials are working to stop a potential disaster. Plus, after the federal government says acetaminophen causes autism, local experts weigh in. It's a dangerous livestock pest that's moving closer to Texas. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jack Kessler. Politics Today's Blas Guerrero has more details on what cattle officials are urging regarding the screwworm and how to protect your livestock.
A new case of the New World screwworm in Mexico, just 70 miles away from the U.S.-Mexico border. Texas Agricultural Commissioner Sept Miller is urging immediate action.
We have a plan that will eradicate this screwworm in 60 days. The last time we used sterile flies, it did eradicate the screwworm fly, but it took 29 years to do it. We don't have 29 days, really. We need to get started today.
The Texas Department of Agriculture is deploying traps to detect screwworm flies and preparing parasite baits for fast response.
There is a fly bait that kills 90% of these flies. All I'm asking is just put out the fly bait and stop this nonsense. Stop this pest. Shove it back down into Central America where it came from. We can, once the bait is deployed, we can eradicate 90% of them in 60 days.
While human risk is low, residents should watch out for key symptoms.
Whereas any cuts or wounds that may not be properly healing, and closely inspect those. Also, just the general observations about how the animal's behaving, if it's somewhat irritated, lethargic.
While there's no immediate threat, officials stress the importance of early detection and awareness.
No need for people to be alarmed or immediately worried about the screwworm. It's not as if there's a immediate concern facing our industry or people in general who care for pets or livestock. But it is something to be aware of, be educated on, and just be prepared.
Texas Parks and Wildlife and the Texas Animal Health Commission are implementing response plans as well as surveillance and reporting efforts. TDA officials say a new vaccine is also in development to give additional protection. Officials say they have secured collection kits for ranchers to confirm suspected cases quickly. President Trump announcing he plans to send more money to American farmers during a joint meeting with the president of Turkey. Trump said he wants to distribute, quote, some of the tariff money to farmers to offset damage done due to the tariffs. Officials say Trump's tariffs, especially on China, are impacting soybeans and sorghum farmers. Ag policy experts say that even if the tariffs are lifted, China has already found new suppliers. The federal government announced this week that they believe that acetaminophen usage by those who are pregnant causes or contributes to autism. Politics Today's Blas Guerrero has more details on what local doctors are advising for those expecting parents.
With the recent announcement from the Trump administration that acetaminophen is linked to the increased risk of autism, it's raising questions and concerns from families.
Acetaminophen by the American College of OBGYNs has been the choice if you need pain relief. It's certainly the choice over an ibuprofen or any of the NSAIDs.
Medical experts say acetaminophen is still the safest option during pregnancy. However, they warn that no medication is without risk.
We always have to balance the risk of treating your conditions versus the risk of how it affects you and your baby. When we think about Tylenol and the associations that has been found, none of them have found causation, but we surely see that there may be an association with autism when we have to balance that risk.
Not treating high fevers, especially in the first trimester, can increase the risk of birth defects, miscarriage, and even preterm labor. Local nonprofit Spectrum Support Society says autism is a complex condition and one that scientists still need to do research.
I just want parents to know that it's not their faults, and we want parents to know that we totally support the medical community and all the medical research that's going out there and the medical findings from this. Research has been being conducted for decades now. I think it's so interesting that we're finding all of these new things out, but I think there's so much more to it than what's going on and being talked about.
Spectrum Support Society offers monthly support groups for parents of children with special needs, focusing on advocacy and various therapies. The organization encourages parents to continue counseling with their doctors. Doctors advise new parents should not be afraid to use acetaminophen when needed. Also encourage parents to stay informed and discuss any concerns with their health care providers. More from Commissioner Miller about the New World Screwworm, or learn more about the resources from the Spectrum Support Society, get over to our website, myhighplains.com. Xcel Energy reports that they will be paying out millions of dollars to settle lawsuits regarding a wildfire. Lawsuits allege Xcel was responsible for Colorado's most destructive wildfire, which happened in 2021. They predict they'll pay more than $600 million. Xcel says their equipment did not cause or contribute to the fire, and they don't admit fault under the settlement. Investigators say that they found a sparking power line owned by Xcel, as well as a scrapped wood fire set nearby by people to be causes of the fire. Texas Ag Commissioner Sept Miller is also speaking out about Xcel Energy. He said what he said about the alleged involvement in last year's wildfire in Texas and why he says they need to do more and fast. It's been more than a year since the largest wildfire in Texas history burned across parts of the High Plains. In that time, investigations into how the multiple fires started were conducted. Xcel Energy started a claims process for those impacted, and while they don't admit fault, they've paid a large amount of the claims they received. But recently, Texas Ag Commissioner Sept Miller wrote an op-ed about the companies allegedly involved. We spoke with Miller earlier this week.
When you sat down to write this letter, what was your hope that would come out of it?
Well, hopefully it'll draw some attention to the fact that this large company is not fulfilling their obligations. Early on, they pretty much admitted, it was their transmission lines that caused the fire. They even paid some claims. They came out and said, our lines caused this. We started the fire. Give us a list of your damage and we'll make you whole. And so some of the smaller claims they paid up front. And then they lawyered up and have since, been fighting everybody in court, stringing this out. Now keep in mind, these people, they don't have a lot left to fight with, and some of them don't have a lot of fight left in them after losing their home, their cattle, their land, their fences, their barns, their very livelihood. Some of them are 8, 9, 10 generations on the same ranch. It's all gone. And the finger points towards Xcel Energy and its subsidiaries. So I'm upset about it. I'm glad that Ken Paxton is taking some action on it. It's been long enough. We had over 1 million acres burned up there because of bad power lines. So it's time they did the right thing and make these ranchers whole so they can get their lives back together.
What has been, their main kind of grievance of, we can't move on because we're still struggling with XYZ?
Well, of course, their grazing was lost. It wasn't just, that 1 year's grass crop. It affected the next year and the next year and the next year. Land has to recover. Fences are, either gone, or if they went through the fire and they're still standing, they're not any good because they have been heat treated. The tensile strength is gone out of those. So what happens, even though that metal T-post and the galvanized wire is still up, a severe winter will cause that wire to contract, and when it does, it'll just snap because it's brittle and it can't stretch anymore because the tensile strength is gone out of it. So, and now it's the outside coating is gone, so it's no longer galvanized. It's subject to rust and corrosion, which greatly shortens the life of it. Really good barbed wire should last 40 or 50 years, but this won't last probably a couple, if that. So it's got to be replaced. There's no insurance company that pays for that. There's no government program that really pays for that either. So there's a lot of things that aren't just covered, but they are damaged. There's livestock that's gone. The cost of disposal of the livestock there's no money to cover that. You know, how do you replace a 100-year-old homestead? You can't put a price on that. So it's time that these families got some closure, financially, are compensated.
And so that's one thing that, a lot of people may not realize is that sometimes insurance and, federal relief, it doesn't cover the cost of everything that, you need to be replaced and need help recovering. And so what's the importance of just getting this done quickly and not prolonging this anymore for these people?
Yeah, you lost not only a pickup, but you lost all the tools and all the equipment that was in it. You lost your transportation, the way to, your trailers that, all your livestock in. The family horse that everybody loved, like everybody loves their dog, may have perished in that fire. So there's some things like that you just absolutely can't replace. You can't put a price on it.
And so for you expressed your support for Attorney General Ken Paxton. And so is there any update on kind of where that investigation is at currently, since it's been, a few weeks since that investigation was announced?
Well, it's in the process. I've asked the Speaker of the House, the Lieutenant Governor, to intervene, to do interim study on this, have XL Energy show up, subpoena them, make them testify before the committee as to why they haven't fulfilled their obligation.
Well, we reached out to Southwestern Public Service Company this week about this op-ed. An official said out of the 253 claims they received, 187 of those have reached their final settlement, and they said that they're working to fairly compensate those who have filed formal lawsuits. The company also said that they don't believe they acted negligently in maintaining and operating their infrastructure. We'll hear more from Commissioner Miller after the break. Keep it here. Texas Ag Commissioner Sid Miller says he's working with state leaders to help those impacted by the wildfires in our area last year. We spoke with him at length about that this week and about the New World screwworm. Here's more from his interview.
And so in your letter that you wrote, you expressed that, they have settled some of these small claims, but these larger claims that are impacting the ranchers, they haven't settled those. And so for you, if you could just convey one thing to Excel to help them push this process for the ranchers and for the people who you're representing, what would you say to them?
Say, well, hey, look, you've already paid some claims. So that means you've already admitted that you're at fault. So just do the right thing. It's going to cost you $120, $150 million. You're going to spend that much in lawyers, especially if you combine what the farmers and ranchers are going to have to pay. Just do the right thing. Let's get this country healed up. Let's take care of our people and move on down the road and not make this same mistake again.
And so to the ranchers who, they're still waiting and they're still in the process of recovering, what's your message to them to, let them know that they are still being seen and they are still being heard?
Well, I want them to know that the Texas Agriculture Commissioner, the Texas Department of Agriculture is behind them. We're putting the pressure on. We're leaning on this company to do the right thing. We're using everything in our power to make it happen at the government level, whether it be the governor, lieutenant governor, or the House. We're pulling together and see if we can't get some relief and get this company to do the right thing.
And as the Agriculture Commissioner, in your experience, have you ever seen anything kind of as extensive as this wildfire damage that these areas saw in your career and in your lifetime that, has impacted this many people?
Yes, we've had fires similar to this. This is the largest one, but we've had some large fires that are close to being this large. But we've never had a company that acts like this. Everybody always came together, did the right thing, paid their claims and made people whole, and we moved on down the road. First time we've ever run up against a company that won't do the right thing.
Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Well, I would like to encourage the people that are victims of this fire, this XL Energy fire, that hang in there. We're behind you. We love you. We want you to be successful. We want you to get your lives back to normal, if that is even a possibility. So we're not giving up on them.
What are you seeing for screwworm, and what are some things that people can continue doing to protect themselves and to hopefully prepare, hoping that it doesn't get to Texas, but if it does, what are some things people can do to protect themselves and protect their property?
We now have a case of New World screwworm within 70 miles of the Texas border. 70 miles. That's less than an hour's drive, the way most Texans drive anyway. So we have a plan that will eradicate this screwworm in 60 days. But we cannot get USDA and Animal Health Commission to implement it. They are still hell-bent on a 70-year-old technology of sterile flies only. There is a fly bait that kills 90% of these flies. All I'm asking is just put out the fly bait and stop this nonsense. Stop this pest. Shove it back down into Central America where it came from. We can, once the bait is deployed, we can eradicate 90% of them in 60 days. Follow that up with the sterile flies, and they're eradicated completely 100% in 90 days. They want to build a brand new screwworm factory. It's going to take 4 years. We got the screwworm knocking at our front door right now. So we don't have 4 years to wait on enough sterile flies to solve this problem. Last time we used sterile flies, it did eradicate the screwworm fly, but it took 29 years to do it. We don't have 29 days, really. We need to get started today. And the fly bait is the 1-2, with the sterile flies, is the 1-2 punch that will knock this pest, back down to the Stone Ages.
Once again, we also reached out to Southwestern Public Service Company this week about this op-ed. An official said out of the 253 claims they received, 187 of them of those have reached their final settlement, and they also said that they're working to fairly compensate those who have filed a formal lawsuit. The company also said that they don't believe they acted negligently in maintaining and operating their infrastructure. Tax rate and budget season for our area is coming to a close. Potter County was expecting to raise their tax rate. We'll tell you what was approved and how much more it'll cost you. Plus, standing up for free speech, why a small group of locals came together for the same message. Fermi America is launching their initial public offering for 25 million shares of its common stock. Officials say that the company's initial public offering price is expected to be between $18 and $22 a share. Reports show that they plan to use the net proceeds and other monies to support continued growth of the site. They also plan to list their common stock on the NASDAQ Global Select Market and the London Stock Exchange. Potter County Commissioners hosted their second reading and vote for the budget and tax rate. They passed it 5-0. The tax rate was raised to 0.590 per $100. The amount raises taxes on a $200,000 home by just under $50 a year. Late night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel returned to the television this week. You may remember that he was suspended indefinitely by ABC and Disney after Nexstar, which is our parent company, said that they'll pull the show off their ABC affiliate following his comments about the Trump administration and Charlie Kirk. Shortly after Nexstar's announcement, ABC made their announcement, and Sinclair, which owns an ABC affiliate in town, also took the show off their channel. Days later, ABC reinstated the show, but Nexstar has chosen not to do that as of Friday. On Friday, Sinclair announced that they would be airing the show on their affiliates once again. Locally, a few citizens were outside the local Sinclair-owned ABC affiliate advocating for free speech Thursday morning. Some of theirs say that free speech is a basic American right, even if you don't agree with Kimmel or others. Organizers tell us they feel America is on the verge of a slippery slope when free speech is threatened, and it's important citizens and businesses alike speak up.
I have a privilege of a strong voice that I need to share with the community. I've been to countries where there is not allowed free speech, and I don't want to see that happen here. These are fundamental rights. This is the backbones of being an American.
I have every channel you can think of, but I wasn't able to watch Jimmy Kimmel last night, and I'm not happy about it. Free speech is what it's all about. That's in the First Amendment.
Organizers tell us that they don't feel like a company like Sinclair, who isn't local to the area, should be able to control what area viewers watch or don't watch. We reached out to the GM of Amarillo's ABC affiliate, but so far I haven't heard back. We're going to wrap up politics today after this. Keep it here. 4 of the 5 judges in Potter County will be running for another term, so let's talk about what happened this week. Judge Anna Estevez, Judge Dee Johnson, Judge Stephen Denny, and Judge Tatiana Farsto will be hosting a joint campaign kickoff. For all of these judges, their terms will end in it will end in 2026. The event will also be a way to start their fundraising campaign. There is a 5th judge in Potter County, but Judge Tom Pirtle's term doesn't end until 2020. Thanks for joining us here on Politics Today. I'm Jack Kessler. Thanks for joining us.